welcome back to my channel. I hope that you're doing well. Welcome to another video and welcome back to another Seasonathon announcement video. This is yet again another video that I'm very excited to share with you. Today we're going to be talking about our Spring Into Reading-a-thon. If you've never heard of Seasonathon before, it is a readathon that is hosted by Melanie at Completely Melanie, Clint from Reads Readers, and myself, where we come together 4 times a year and host a readathon for every season. So this time around it is Spring Into Reading-a-thon, but we do have one for winter, summer, and fall as well, which is very exciting. But this time we're going to be introducing some new and fun things to this readathon, so I'm very, very excited to share it with you. If you aren't already following the other hosts of this readathon, feel free to go check them out. All of their information will be in the description box below, as well as their announcement videos for this readathon, so you can get some more recommendations and just show them some love. So just some general information about this round's Seasonathon. It will be 1 week for the Spring Into Reading-a-thon. It will start on Sunday, March 20th and end on Sunday, March 27th. That will give you a full 8 days to complete some prompts and just have a fun time doing it. Then of course, every Seasonathon we have a group book and an author that will come on and do a live show. So for the group book and author live show, that will be happening on March 26th, that is a Saturday, at 3 p.m. EST on Mel's channel. And more information about the group book and the group author to come, so stay tuned for that. And then we also have our After Hours Drunk live show, which we do every Seasonathon, and that will happen also on Mel's channel on the same day, Saturday the 26th at 8 p.m. EST. So if you guys want to join us for either one of those, we will be so happy to hang out with you, laugh with you, ask some questions for the authors. It's going to be a blast per usual. I think that's all the basic information that you need to know about this readathon. If you have any more information or have any questions, all of that should be answered down below in the description box below. Once these videos have premiered, we will be linking a Google Doc where you can get all of that information. And if you have any other questions, feel free to ask us in the description box below. That being said, we have a lot of prompts to talk about and a lot of fun stuff to discuss. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the prompts for Spring Into Reading-a-thon. I am very excited to say that we are going to be announcing a bingo board. I freaking love bingo, as you guys well know, and it's just so much fun to have a readathon where you have a bingo board and you have something to work towards, crossing things off a list. I always think it's just so much fun. And for this, in order to get a bingo per se, you would have to read 5 books in a row that create a bingo. That could either be horizontally on the board in any row, vertically on the board in any row, any diagonal, or if you are looking for an easier route, you can also choose to do the 4 corners as well as the center spot. That being said, you can triple up, double up, quadruple up on any of the books to fill the bingo board spots. Take that as you will. You can also challenge yourself to read as many of the prompts on the bingo board as you would like. It's completely up to you. It's completely up to your reading pace. Because this is a week-long readathon, we don't want you to get stressed out about trying to fill every single prompt on the board. That's not the point of this, but it just gives you a lot of different options in order to create a bingo in case some of the prompts don't appeal to you. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about all of the prompts. There are 25 to shout out today. So I'm going to give you some small recommendations for ones that warrant a recommendation. The only one I'm going to skip and talk about for the very last prompt is going to be the group book. So stay tuned for all of that information. But without further ado, let's get into it. The very first prompt that we're going to talk about is spring cleaning, and that is to read a book that's been collecting dust on your bookshelves. That can be interpreted whatever way you want, and obviously this is very tailored to your reading taste and your bookshelves. That could be a book that's been sitting on your physical TBR, your Kindle TBR, your library TBR, whatever it is, however it is that you want to interpret that, feel free to do so. Up next, we have New Beginnings, and that is to read the first book in a series. Granted, you could choose literally so many books for this, but I pulled 2 off my shelves just to give you some options in case you don't really know where you want to start. You could always pick up the first book in a graphic novel series if you want something short and easy to read during this week. Or if you're ready to tackle something a little bit thicker, you can read Incendiary by Zoraida Cordova, or any first book in a series that tickles your fancy. Then we have Wet T-shirt Contest, and that is to read a book that features smut. As you guys know, one of my favorite things in the world to read, so I'm very excited for this prompt. For recommendation for that, you could read Feel My Pain. This is a male-male motorcycle club romance with a ton of smut. Or you could also read something like Neon Gods by Katie Robert or Desperate Measures by Katie Robert, a really fantastic smut author. Hate by Tate James. Obviously, you guys know I am in love with that series. There's plenty of options out there. Just take a scroll through Book Talk. You'll find something. Our next prompt is Road Trip, and that is to read an audiobook. I adore audiobooks, and there are so many options here for you to choose. Obviously, there are thousands, hundreds of thousands of audiobooks out there. So whatever it is that you want to do that. You could use a book that you're already reading for another prompt and listen to the audiobook to fill 2 prompts at the same time. Whatever works for you works for me. Another really subjective prompt is Life's a Beach. Read an easy book. This again, is completely subjective and up to your tastes and whatever is easy for you. You could read a poetry book, you could read a short story collection, you could read a novella, you could read a graphic novel. If romance is easy for you to read, you could read that. If you love reading chunky adult fantasy and that's easy for you, whatever works best for you. If easy book means a thriller, that is great. Whatever your interpretation of an easy book is, that's a way to fill that prompt. We also tried to give you some options to double up on prompts without picking a specific book for it. So the next prompt we have is fresh air, and that is to read a book outside. So you could use any books that you are currently reading for any of the other prompts, take it outside in your backyard or patio, or if you want to go to a coffee shop or a park, all while staying safe, of course, and read a book. That's it. Then we have spring fashion, and that is to read a book with a beautiful cover. Again, beautiful books are completely subjective to what you think is beautiful, but I'm going to give you two options of books that I think are absolutely stunning. The first one being The Devil Makes Three by Tori Bavolino. Granted, this is a special edition cover, but still very gorgeous. Speaking of special editions, I also have the special edition of Skin of the Sea by Natasha Bowen. This cover is gorgeous, and it's a beautiful special edition as well. Up next, we have read one of Mel's favorite books. This is always just a fun prompt because I love reading other people's favorites. I think it's just so much fun. And for this, we have included in the Google Doc all three of the host's top 10 favorite books of all time. So you can either read a favorite book that's on that list, or you can read a book by an author that's on that list. You don't have to specifically read that particular book that's listed on there. If you want to read another one of the author's backlist or a different title that you're interested in, you're more than welcome to do so. That gives you a range of options to choose from in regards to books and authors. So that's a good option for you if you want to fill that prompt. Up next, we have April Showers, and that is to read a book that you think is going to make you cry. If you're anything like me, I like a good emotional read, and sometimes I seek out books that I think will bring me some tears. The first one I have here is Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. I have heard that any person that reads this cries, and I am always down for a good cry. It is a sad contemporary romance. I love to see it. Hopefully you love to see it, and I would love to see what you guys pick for this prompt because I feel like different things make people cry. It could be happy tears if you'd like either as well. It doesn't have to be sad, but that's usually how I cry. Then of course we have none other than Wolf Song by TJ Klune. If you guys have been following any of our channels in the last 4 months, you guys all know that we adore the Green Creek series, and every single book in the series has made me cry. So if you're looking for a good recommendation and you want to start something like this series, I highly, highly recommend it. Our next prompt is Look of the Irish, and that is to read a book with green on the cover. I have two options for you. Again, you could go something short, like a graphic novel. This is Magic Fish by Trung Lee Nguyen, and this is a fantastic graphic novel that incorporates fairy tale and myth and legend, which I really, really enjoyed. And again, keeping along the short theme, you could do Every Heart a Doorway by Shauna Maguire, which obviously has green on the cover. Our next prompt is to read one of Clint's favorites. Again, like I mentioned, if you need any recommendations to fulfill this prompt, you can check out the Google Doc. It will have all the information that you need there. This is one of my favorite prompts on the board, and the next prompt is self-care. This is to take a day for yourself. Granted, that could mean you're still reading throughout the day, but it is just a nice reminder that sometimes you need to take a day just for you. So do whatever makes you happy. Do a hobby that you've been pushing off for a little while. Lay around in bed and watch BookTube all day. Sleep, take a nap, hang out with your dog, hang out with your significant other. Whatever it is, do something that's just for you. Okay, then we have Spring Forward, and that is to read a sequel. You all know we are all collectively as a BookTube group trying to finish off series this year. I know I'm not the only one that is struggling with this, so hopefully this prompt helps you. It's literally what it sounds like. Read a book that is a sequel to any series that you are currently in the middle of. This is just a way to push you to work on some of those series that have been sitting around for a little while, that have been staring at you like a, please read me, please. Our next prompt is Love is in the Air, and that is to read a book with a friendship group or a romantic plotline. So for that, I have two options for you. You could definitely do something with a friend group like The Serpent King by Jeff Zettner. If you're also looking to double up on a prompt and read a book that is going to make you cry, this is definitely a book for you. This does follow 3 friends and their lives in high school, and it's just such a fantastic book. This is also one of our group book authors from the past, so definitely a really good option. Or you could read a fantasy romance. Obviously, it has a romantic plotline, but a little bit of a fantasy backdrop. Some of my favorite type of books to read, so if you're looking for a recommendation for that, this is one that I would recommend. Then we have Over the Rainbow, and that is to read a classic or a fairy tale or a retelling, depending on what you like to read. You could definitely read a classic with Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This is a very well-known classic, one that I haven't read in a really long time, but very well-known. Or you could do a retelling with A Touch of Darkness. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling. Classic Greek fairy tale. and a retelling. I love to see it. One of my favorite times of the year, and that is spring break, and that is to read a book featuring travel or vacation. For that, we have The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armaz. This features a wedding in Spain that they have to travel to, so we'd love to see it. And one of my favorite books featuring a vacation, and that is People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I adore this book, and it also fits for the romance plotline as well. I love this prompt just because I have zero self-control, but the next prompt is refresh your TBR, and that is to bring a new book into your collection. Whether that is an ebook, a physical book, an audiobook, a library book, a book that you're borrowing from a friend or family member, however it is that you're bringing it into your collection, please do so. We don't want to make anyone break any book buying bans, but this is a nice option to treat yourself if you need a little extra love this month. Our next prompt is to read one of Kaylani's favorites. That is me. I have some good ones on there. I'm biased a little bit, but I think that if you read any of them, you'd probably enjoy it. So again, check out the Google Doc, but hopefully if you do read any of my favorites that you don't hate them. Then we have Women's March, and that is to read a book with a strong female character. For that, I have The Nature of Witches by Rachel Griffin. I love the female character in this, and she might have some insecurities about her life, but as a magical entity, she is very strong, so definitely a good option for that. And then we have On the Come Up by Angie Thomas. All of the characters that she writes about are very strong-willed characters, and I love reading Angie Thomas's work, so this is definitely a good option if you're looking for a contemporary. Our next prompt is Read Like an Aries, and that is to read a book under 250 pages. So we do love a good option for short books and a week-long readathon. So the first one that I have here is if you're looking for a good smutty BDSM novella, I would pick up The Dare by Harley Laroux. Or if you want to stick to the graphic novel train, you could always pick up Monstrous Volume 1. I've heard really good things about this one. I'm hoping that I can get to it during this week, but we shall see. Our next prompt is an ode to the past, and that is to read a book by a past Seasonathon author. Or you could read a past Seasonathon group book. For that, you could definitely pick up Perfect on Paper by Sophie Gonzalez or The Deceivers by Kristen Simmons. Both of these were group books. However, if you wanted to read a backlist title by any of our authors, you could always pick up something like Always Never Yours by Emily Wemberly and Austin Siegmund Broca, or even Only Mostly Devastated by Sophie Gonzalez. Some really awesome options. I think we also had Christina Lauren at one point. There's plenty of options for you. Our next prompt is Tiptoe Through the Tulips, and that is to read a book with pink or yellow on the cover. I have two options for you. The first one being The Charm Offensive by Alison Cochrane. This has both pink and yellow on the cover. And then one of my favorite books that I have ever read is Undercover Romance by Lisa K. Adams, and this also has pink and yellow on the cover. Plenty of options for you though. You don't have to pick a romance. There are so many books out there with both of those colors or one or the other color on the cover. One of my favorite prompts, and that is Spring Court. That is to read a book involving fae. I do love a good fae book. Count me in for all of those. I do have some options for you. You could read The Beloved Zodiac Academy by Caroline Peckham and Susan Valentini. I never get it right. Anyways, this is one that I'm very, very excited to give this recommendation for because I really, really enjoyed it. This is a world full of fae and mischievous things happening. It's also a bully romance, so if you're looking for something like that, I highly recommend. And I know you guys were all waiting for me to recommend Sarah J. Maas, but haha, I tricked you. And I'm gonna choose These Hollow Vows by Lexi Ryan. This is also a fae romance, which is being compared to ACOTAR, so our last non-reading prompt, and that is Tiny Umbrellas, and that is to drink your favorite iced beverage. Whether you want to make it at home, or if you want to take a trip to Dunkin' or Starbucks to get yourself a nice little iced coffee or a chai latte or whatever it is that you like, we highly recommend treat yourself to a nice iced beverage. And finally, what you all have been waiting for, I'm sure, is the group book, our author that's going to be joining us for the live show, and that is none other than TJ Klune. We are going to be reading The Extraordinaries by TJ Klune for the group book for the Seasonathon. And when I say that I am excited, that's an understatement. I have been shouting about this to anybody that I'm able to talk to about it, meaning the Seasonathon hosts and my husband, that we get to interview TJ Klune. Like, are you kidding me? I'm so pumped, and I'm very, very excited to be finally reading this series. This book was actually gifted to me by my friend Karina, so thank you, Karina. You were ahead of the game gifting me a book that I had to read for March anyways. But the third book in this series is coming out very, very soon. We also have the second book, Flashfire, in case you've already read Extraordinaries and you need to read a sequel. Hey, look at us go. Or if you aren't interested in reading the group book at all, you're more than welcome to buddy read a book, or you can read another book by this author. So in case you want to join the live show and maybe ask TJ Klune questions about his other books, you're more than welcome to read another book by him, or just buddy read any book that you were interested in. But I'm very, very excited for this. I could cry. Honestly, I could cry. This is a YA sci-fi about two characters that live in a world filled with extraordinaries. It's world that has superheroes. So I'm very excited. I don't even want to read the synopsis, but I will, just for you. Nick Bell is not extraordinary, but being the most popular fan fiction writer in the Extraordinaries fandom is not a bad start. After a chance encounter with Shadow Star, Nova City's midnight hero, and Nick's biggest crush, Nick is no longer satisfied writing about heroes. He wants to become one. So he sets out to make himself something more, something extraordinary. Full of valiant adventures, thrilling twists, queer romance, and laugh-out-loud humor, this is the beginning of a remarkable story about a fanboy with ADHD and the heroes he loves. Speechless, you guys, speechless. So excited. I am beyond pumped to be sharing this with you, and so excited to read it with all of you. So now that I have gushed about all the prompts as well as our group book and our author, that is the end of this video. I know it's a long one, I'm so sorry, but there were a lot of prompts to talk about and I wanted to give you as many recommendations as I can. That being said, if you're looking for more recommendations, feel free to check out any of the other announcement videos. They will have some recommendations for the prompts as well. But of course, if you don't have time to watch the videos, you're more than welcome to check out that Google Doc down below where you can get recommendations for any of the prompts mentioned today. That actually makes sense to give you a recommendation for. You can also look at all of our favorites for if you would decide to use any one of our favorites to fill a prompt. There's also the link for the bingo boards there, so if you would like to do a full color bingo board or a black and white bingo board, if you're hoping to print it out and put it in a bullet journal maybe, there's options for you there, as well as the links to all of the announcement videos and all the information that you'll need for this readathon. Check that Google Doc down below, and if you have any other questions, feel free to ask them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to help you. Of course, if you're going to participate in this round readathon, please make sure that you tag us in any vlogs, any pictures that you post on Instagram or Twitter, any TBRs that you decide to post. We would absolutely love to watch and look at any content that you guys create for this readathon. And of course, you can use the hashtag SpringIntoReading2022. That being said, that's all the information that I think that I can give to you. I'm going to stop yabbering on. Check out Clint's announcement video that will be up after this one. And of course, if you haven't already watched Mel's announcement video, make sure to go back and watch that. I love you all very, very much. I'm very excited to hear your thoughts and opinions on this readathon and the changes that we've made. If you have any recommendations or changes that you would like us to make for the next round of Seasonathon, feel free to let us know. If you made it to the end of this video and you don't know what else to comment, feel free to leave any flower emoji that tickles your fancy. That is the end though. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure to give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. And of course, leave any comments, questions, and suggestions in the comment section below. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Baby, turn it down.